everyone, happy Monday. Welcome into Attacking Third, brought to you by CarMax, the way car buying should be. Alongside Darian Jenkins and Aaron West, I'm Lisa Carlin. NWSL Matchday 14 was chaos across the board. There's a lot to talk about because I want to hear all of your thoughts because I've missed you all. It's so good to be back with you. How's it been, Aaron?
It's been good. We missed you. How was Ireland?
Oh, it was wonderful.
Did you come back with a little accent? You gonna break that out for us?
That's all I have with me today.
You both have really good Irish accents. I'm not going to attempt this. You were sorely missed. I loved your cameo, though, in our show about the Olympic rosters.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I know. I had to get my 2 cents in there about Alex Morgan. I also did one, I think, about Lily Johannes, but you didn't play it. I watched, of course. I couldn't not be here and not watch the shows. I was doing it live on YouTube. I was downloading and following because you can also listen to the show as a podcast anywhere you get your podcast. Subtle plug. Listen to Attacking Third and tell a friend. But the NWSL weekend was chaos across the board. A lot of action happening as we take a look at the weekend fixtures for Matchday 14. Orlando Pride stay undefeated with a 6-0 win over the Utah Royals. Houston and San Diego play to a scoreless draw. On Sunday, there was a lot of matches. Portland Thorns taking on Kansas City Current. The Current getting another win, staying at the top of the table. Gotham fell 2-0 to Washington Spirit. North Carolina Courage pick up a 3-1 win over Chicago Red Stars, and the Seattle Reign draw with Racing Louisville. Second half of the season is here, so as we take a look at the top half of the standings, Kansas City and Orlando, they stay at the top of the table. Washington with that win over Gotham, they stay in third place, picking up 3 more points ahead of Gotham in fourth place. And with the win for the Courage over the Chicago Red Stars, North Carolina jumps to the 6th spot, dropping Chicago to the 7th spot. At the top of the table, Kansas City Current traveled to Portland Thorns. This match happening in Providence Park. Sophia Smith available thanks to the appeal by the Players Association, Darian. But in the 30th minute, Kansas City, they just cannot be stopped.
It all happened within 10 minutes for Kansas City. Ball whipped in by Michelle Cooper, and Chewinga backs up, reserves it over to LaBonta in between the defenders. She just flicks it, her back facing the goal. 38th minute, Kansas City. This ball whipped in from a corner. A little bit of a ping ball action moment. I don't know how many attempts at goal they get, but at the end, Balasagar gets on the end of this, puts it away. And this is Kansas City's 17th different goal scorer. I mean, at this point, if you're watching the NWSL and you want to score a goal, go join Kansas City. See if you can get on that team. But in the 40th minute, it's the captain, LaBonta, again, top of the D. Puts it upper 90. Send. Love to see this from her. She has such a great finish. Her first brace in her career. A little high step over to celebrate with her teammates. 47th minute, Chewinga. This is one of my favorite goals of the weekend because Bully pushes everyone on Portland off of her, dribbles herself, puts it to her left. She could have slipped Binya, but you're a forward. You're going to shoot your shot and get a goal. Luckily for Portland, they had Sophia Smith back. She was by far the most dangerous attacker. She gets to the top of the 18, and how many times have we seen her do that? Whip this ball far post around AD French. Good to see her back and playing. I know she's extra motivated to get a goal, but ultimately, Kansas City dominated this game. 3 points for Kansas City Current, and a lot of that having to do with Vlatko Adanovsky in his first year with Kansas City in this new iteration. Take a look at this. Incredible stats, because last season to this season for Kansas City, 5 wins, 9 losses in 2023. Right now, 9 wins, 5 draws, 0 losses. They've over doubled their points on the season, more than doubled their goal total this year. It feels like it is an entirely new team, and there are new players and there are a new coach. So is that what you would credit, Aaron, Kansas City's success this season when you compare it to 2023?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of different factors. You can't just attribute it to just the new players, just a new coach, but all these things coming together. Vlatko Adanovsky, he is a Kansas City fixture. His family's there. He's been there for years. He knows that club in and out. So he's well set up for success there. He knows the setup. The players love him. If you've ever talked to anyone who's played for Vlatko, his players love him so much. It's a really, really great atmosphere. And then you add in a Bia Zanarata, you add in a Timwa Chewinga to a core that already had a lot of quality. I think it just elevated them to the place where they are now. Everyone's comfortable, they know their roles, they're happy, and it's good football all around. This
scoreline is similar to the first time Kansas City played Portland, the first match of the season. But Portland is entirely different at this point in the season. However, Kansas City still scores 3 first-half goals. And Lo LaBonta, a huge factor in this match for Kansas City with a brace in this match. Is that the difference? I mean, what have you noticed from Lo LaBonta, Darian?
The biggest difference for me is she was able to get a little higher up the pitch in this match. I don't know if that's because Debinha stayed out a little bit or DiBernardo was out with a head injury, but she was able to get closer to the 18. She was more influential in the attack, which I love that. Lo is naturally a 10. She's crafty on the ball. She's really clean, technically savvy. She has great vision, a great finisher, as we finally get to see. I think she has like one banger a year that we're talking about. Yeah. But it was fun to see. I like that she's getting up into the attack a little bit more. I think she is not just a leader in her playing ability, but her all-around presence when she's there really sets the tone for Kansas City, and that's been a really big factor for me this season, why they've been able to flip it around.
For Kansas City, you mentioned Stina Balasager getting a goal this weekend for Kansas City. She becomes the 17th goal scorer, which means that there are only 5 players that have seen the field for Kansas City that have not scored a goal. Of course, Tamwa Chawinga at the top of that list with 9 goals. No, field players. 5 field players that haven't seen the field. Defensively, when you're going up against Kansas City, how does that change your scouting report, knowing that essentially every player has found the back of the net?
Go ahead, Aaron.
They're just a holistic way of playing. They spread the ball around. It's very, very unselfish. They have strikers that want to score goals, but you see Chawinga dishing the ball off. You see Biazanarato's unselfishness. They're just, as a team, I think they play the way Vlatko wants them to play. They're very they're happy to share the load, and it's very difficult to defend against.
For this Kansas City side, they continue to stay at the top of the standings. But another team that is right on the Current's heels, Orlando Pride. They traveled to Utah Royals. Barbara Banda, of course, stealing the show. But it was Orlando Pride against Utah Royals in the 27th minute. An opportunity, Aaron, for Orlando.
It's a good cross from Carrie Abeo. It's poor marking there, but Barbara Banda, her movement in the box is so shifty, so good. And then we see Marta with a good first touch, laces that one into the near post. We fast forward to the 86th minute. We don't have enough time to show all the goals, but here's a poor mistake from Utah, and Barbara Banda will make you pay every time. Such a lethal striker. And then another goal from Marta, this time on her right foot, shifts it onto her right, tucks that into the top corner. It's a fantastic strike once again from the veteran. And Barbara Banda has been absolutely on fire since arriving in Orlando.
Barbara Banda, just her 10th game. She's got 10 goals. She scored her 4th brace in this match. She's only second in the Golden Boot race, though, only behind Sophia Smith in assists at this point. But Darian, when you look at this Orlando Pride side, all of it is coming together. This is a team that can go all the way, but how do they take it to the next level and make sure that they stay undefeated, that they get to the postseason, that they make it all the way to the Shield and the championship? How does Sepp Hines keep building on this squad?
They need to just keep enjoying the game. I think we're seeing teams that are really successful this season. They're having fun while they're playing. They're sharing the load of who's scoring goals, who's assisting. They're defending really well. I mean, for me, Orlando's playing better than Kansas City because how defensive they are. They're very solid in the back. But I think they really just need to keep enjoying it, share the wealth, have these really solid team wins, and just be consistent. And they've really proven it. I mean, for the first half of the season to be this good is pretty difficult to do. So in my opinion, they're going all the way, actually. Putting it out there.
I don't disagree with you. They look like, between them and Kansas City, they look like the clear favorites. But they defend, like you said, they defend so well. To have that platform when you're scoring that many goals. It's a really good platform.
Yeah. Orlando had 249 passes in Utah's attacking half, or in Orlando's attacking half through this match. Utah had 209 passes total. Throughout this match. So if you're Utah, Darian, what are the small incremental steps that you can take as a team to make this season worth it?
You need to focus on the small wins. As much as that sucks to do, the results aren't coming. Focus on how you can build. I mean, from game to game, are we focusing on defensively? Did we do what we came out to do in our defensive half? And that's, you know what, let's have a shutout. Let's lock out some pieces that we're consistently getting scored on. Transitions, set pieces. These are very simple things that you can really set to work on throughout the week to try to lock in. and then the attacking part comes. I think you gain a lot of confidence, focus on the defense individually. When your play is wrong or you're not vibing, you're not gelling, you're not feeling good on the ball, you focus on your defensive work rate because that's really what you can control. The technical part is going to come later. For Utah, it's such a struggle. I want them to do better. I want them to do well. I feel for the players because when you're in a season like this where you can't get wins and then you have a beating against Orlando, it's tough to have confidence going into the next game.
It's really difficult, too, because I don't disagree with a single thing you said. But in the 4 previous matches before that, they did defend decently. They only conceded 1 goal. They just have no attacking thrust. There's no confidence within the team. They don't really feel like they have a go-to player. So when you're in a situation like this and the rest of the league is so good, it's just a really, really tough way to ride out this season.
We're almost grasping at straws every time we talk about Utah. Like, what can we pull from them?
Trying to find one little positive here and there.
And this doesn't bode well for them confidence-wise heading into their next match against the Portland Thorns because this Utah side, they sit at the bottom of the NWSL standings, just 2 wins, 1 draw, and 11 losses so far in the season. Plenty more NWSL action occurred across the weekend, and we're going to recap it all next when we get back. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Attacking Third, the long-awaited arrival of Jonathan Giraldez as he arrives in Washington, D.C. to coach the Washington Spirit. After leading Barcelona to a historic quadruple in his first season at the helm, Giraldez is now set to take over as the team. The Spirit did make an announcement saying that at the current moment, Adrian Gonzalez, who has been the interim head coach, will stay in the head coaching role as Giraldez makes that transition. And then once the transition is made, Adrian Gonzalez will remain on the coaching staff as a first assistant, but he was on the ground in the press box for this first match for Washington Spirit, Aaron. But once he does get into place, Jonathan Giraldez, how might this change the way Washington looks and plays?
I'm really actually interested to see this from a footballing perspective because we know what a good manager he is, what an impact he's had on this Barcelona side. But Washington Spirit are playing very, very well right now. Obviously, he's going to have had some talks with the managers. He's probably had talks with the team before coming in. But they're playing well right now, and then there's a new factor coming in. Whether his expectations are different, whether he wants to change little things within the team, it may affect them. So I'm interested to see whether they have another bump, a new manager bump, or whether it kind of destabilizes a little bit because you come in, there's new manager, new expectations. There are some young players who haven't had this manager. So it could go one of 2 ways.
Pros or cons? What do you think, Dee?
I think it's going to be a really big pro. I mean, coming from Barcelona, and you look at how that team plays and all of the superstars that he has been able to help develop their games and win literally every single thing he possibly can in Europe, I think it's just going to be a huge asset. I mean, I would be so excited if I were a younger player, older player, wherever I was in my career, knowing a coach that's decorated and has the resume and all of the players who adore him to back it up, because really good coaches are few and far in between, sadly. So for him to come to the NWSL and go to a team that's already thriving, has really, really good players that are gelling well together, I think we're going to see their chemistry build, especially in possession in their midfield. I think this is going to be a huge asset for them. I kind of just wish that they would just switch him over, though. I don't like the slowly doing it, because I feel like that almost creates a little bit more confusion of, I don't know, this passing of the torch between the coaches. Who's really taking lead? Who do you go to if you have questions? I would rather just be quick exchange. Gonzalez is now the assistant. Let's hear what Giraldez has to say.
Even if the new head coach has only had 1 or 2 days of training with the team?
He's for sure been, I think, much more present than we are given privy to, that we know of. And I know that Giraldez and Gonzalez have talked. Gonzalez was saying that they've spoken a lot and exchanged a lot about the play, players, etc. So I would just prefer if they just made the switch. Let's see what he's got.
Well, we'll see. We don't have an exact timeline as to when that official switch will happen, but over the weekend, it was Giraldez at the helm, and he kept Washington winning as they took on Gotham FC. Juan Carlos Amoro's pumping up his Gotham squad ahead of the match. And Trinity Rodman, it would be another fire game for Rodman at this match, Aaron.
Yeah, this one was a fiery competition. A mistake here at the back for Gotham.
Yeesh.
Lets in Croy Bethune. She squares it to Courtney Brown. A really, really good finish here to make it 1-0. Kind of against the run of play, but this one led to more drama for Gotham in the 45 plus 9th minute. Set piece comes out. This ball will go across, and Yasmin Ryan is a penalty shout there. She's clattered. She is then sent off for treatment and would eventually be sent off for a second yellow card after coming back on the pitch a little bit too soon. I've been told that that decision will be reviewed. They're appealing that one to see if Yasmin Ryan will be available for the next match. It was a big confusion on the sideline.
You can see it in her face as well, confusion and disappointment.
And then in the 47th minute, just after halftime, down a player, Gotham, and Trinity Rodman needs no introduction, an absolute laser into the top corner. I was really, really impressed with Rodman. She took a couple tough tackles in the first half, was a bit out of it, but a real gamer came back and had a couple bright opportunities and was really, really bright overall in the second half for Washington Spirit.
Washington's attack has been really consistent. They've scored in their last 13 games 29 goals. What is the biggest factor in all the consistent offense?
They look confident. They look dangerous. I think we're seeing players. I mean, Courtney Brown coming in, and she had some really good opportunities. Good. She looked good.
A rookie out of Utah. Yeah, she looks pretty good.
Hey, shout out to Utah. Love you, Mom. Shout out. They look good, confident, and I think that they're taking chances that only come when you feel positive in training, when you have the freedom and the flexibility and honestly investment from your coach that trusts you to do these things. I mean, how many times have we seen Rodman try to take that shot and it go upper 90 and keepers have had amazing saves? For her to have the confidence to keep doing it, keep trying it, and that have such an influence on everybody, I think is why they've been so successful this year, because when someone's confident, it's very infectious to the rest of the team, and they, again, are another team that's like balling out, having a good time.
Yeah, I think this team is really, really well set up. Their base is very good. They've got two really class center midfielders in Hirschfeld and Andy Sullivan. They provide so much stability, and then you've got Croy Bethune just floating in and out. And then their reference point, Ulamata Sarr, is a fantastic target striker. She holds the ball up well. She can run in behind. She can win it in the air. And when you have those kind of pieces that you can focus on, and then Trinity Rodman can kind of float around and do her thing, they're just very well balanced all around the pitch.
The foundation that Washington has laid already in these first 14 matches, it proves that it's really stable and that they are a team that is going to be hard to take down ultimately.
Team.
Yeah, they have a lot of holes that are a lot of pieces that can fill different holes and just rotate throughout.
Big thing for me watching the Spirit, they have so many really good players that are racking up stats. How do you defend against them? So you even saw Gotham, like questionable defending. They're all rushing to Croy Bethune because she's dangerous on the ball. Who knows what she's going to do? Leave somebody wide open. Trinity Rodman gets fouled how many times every single game? Well, who else does that leave open? Now teams are doubling down on Ule Sarr. They have such a strong front line and so many options to score goals and attack. They are really unstoppable.
Yeah.
Another team that is looking to try to get out of this unstoppable race that they're in right now, Seattle Reign. They took on Racing Louisville this weekend. A tough matchup for Seattle. They have been winless since May 3rd. That is 7 matches, and they split points with Racing Louisville. But in the 6th minute, an opportunity, Darian.
Yeah, ball over the top to Haidama. She has a really good touch. Erin Wright using her speed to try to get back, but ultimately fouls her. As Lisa and I were watching this before, she pointed out Erin Wright's arm just goes over the top of Haidama. Referee goes to check the monitor. First time over the weekend the ref did that. Some other questionable decisions that needed a check. Ref goes back, ultimately pulls out the red because of dog. So Wright has to go off. Louisville plays the rest of the match with only 10 players. Bethany Balser steps up, puts this away, her 5th goal of the season, leading the team. Good to see her back on the score sheet. That does a lot for your confidence as a forward. But in added time, go Bruins, the rookie Raylan Turner gets on the end of this gritty finish off of a free kick. The ball is redirected and she is just hungry on the end of it, gets it around Claudia Dickey, and evens the score. But I mean, Seattle let this win slip between their fingers.
It helps when you have goalkeeper Katie Lund who can take that set piece. Meanwhile, North Carolina Courage hosting the Chicago Red Stars. The Courage at WakeMed, they're always good. You can never count North Carolina out, but Chicago in the 12th minute, Mallory Swanson is who you cannot count out.
Yeah, first of all, shout out to the Crib, shout out to North Carolina, but Mallory Swanson against the run-up play, takes it on herself. Little back heel off the throw-in.
Yeah, what?
Little touch to herself, gets on
so
to it. The pace, the dribbling ability, the finishing on her quote-unquote weaker left foot. It's a really, really good finish from Mal Swanson, but it was all downhill from there. North Carolina just 4 minutes later. Brianna Pinto with a beautiful little slipped ball to Tyler Lucy, who finished this one with aplomb. It's a really, really good pass, a good goal from Lucy, who's pumped up. Fast forward to the second half, we're gonna have us a nice little golazo from Ashley Sanchez. Ryan Williams holds it up, and look at this strike from Sanchez. Laces
popping
that one.
off.
Absolutely brilliant hit there.
Oh, I love that angle of the shot
that far
too.
Post. It's a wonderful hit from Sanchez. Makes it 2-1, and in the 81st minute, Carolina would close it out. Bianca St. George's makes a run down the right side, a great ball across the face of goal to Meredith Speck, who would finish it eventually. This one's gonna go across the line. It does indeed go across the line, even though it's cleared out, but it's 3-1 to North Carolina, and they get a very, very important 3 points.
Those highlights showed all the incredible goals that happened throughout this match, but the keepers, they had good game. Alyssa Nair, 4 saves. Casey Murphy from North Carolina with 3 saves.
Your Olympic duo right there.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Darian, how impressive were the keepers?
Yeah.
They were fun to watch. It's good to see. Keepers don't get a lot of love.
They don't.
Give them some.
Yeah, they don't get a lot of love. Sorry, keepers. We should do better. But it was a really good game. I mean, both of these teams attacked a lot, and for a keeper to stay in tune, stay focused throughout a whole game, and be able to come up with those massive saves that keep their teams in the game, it could have changed the momentum of it entirely if they let one slip in. But yeah, shout out to the keepers. What a season. Because the attack in the NWSL has gotten so good, I think the keeper level has had to
we have some world-class keepers in this league, and Katrin Berger coming in has been really, really good for Gotham, obviously.
That Gotham shout-out.
The Olympic, I mean, every time every time I get a chance, it's going to happen. I'm the biggest homer you will see on this desk.
Also North Carolina, too, at the start of the highlights. Did you hear him? He was like, well, we like it, Aaron. It's all right. Bring the personality up here. Why not? That's fine. We have plenty of those here. At least we point them out. We show the spotlight on them. Plenty more NWSL recap to come. We're taking a look out west to the California sides and breaking down those matches that happened over the weekend. We'll be right back. NWSL's newest California rivalry, Bay FC against Angel City, took place this past weekend at PayPal Park. 29th minute, a chance for Angel City.
Yeah, and a chance for the down south. Clarice Labian, a fantastic dummy there. Rocky Rodriguez smashes that one against the post. The connection between crossbar and post right there. Just tries to sneak it in. Cannot turn it home. Just a couple minutes later, though, Bay, Emily Minguez with a nice little piece of work there. 1-2, a great little ball through, and a fantastic finish from Tess Bodie, a wonderfully worked goal from Bay, and they would take this one 1-0.
3 points for Bay FC. Angel City got caught ball watching in that goal ultimately for Bay. As we take a look at the season series between these two sides, Bay takes the sweep. 2 wins over Angel City, both by a score of 1-0. The first matchup coming in the opening match week in early March of this season, with Asisato Shwala getting the lone goal for Bay FC. But Tess Bodie, 2 goal contributions against this Angel City side. But when we look at Bay FC, Darian, they're coming off a 1-0 loss to Utah last week, and then they get a 1-0 win over Angel City. What changed in just a week's time?
I love Bodie up at the 9. There was a little bit of a rotation. Castellanos came in, Dorian Bailey came in, just managing minutes. But she has been so effective for this team, and we're finally seeing every team kind of has a player that floats around a little bit, that has free reign to kind of do what they want. And Bodie is that player for Bay. I think she's become a staple in the league, actually, because she has been so dominant no matter what team she's faced. But we spoke to Albertine Montoya last week, and he talked a lot about how they create so many opportunities, especially between Kundananji and Oshuala. It's just a matter of that mental confidence, because there's some sitters that they're missing, quite frankly. And as a forward, that sucks because you've done it hundreds of times in training repeatedly. So at this point, I think once these two forwards get one or two away, they're going to be unstoppable in the attack like some of the other teams that we're seeing.
The ability for Tess Bodie to float around and play a 6, a 10 up in the front line is because Bay has someone like Kiki Pickett that can slot into the 6 role. And she's developed herself, Aaron, into this midfield for Albertine Montoya.
Yeah, and you can tell she's got the confidence of her manager. She feels comfortable. She's starting to really understand this role. And players like that are really, really important to build a team around, especially when you know you can move people around. You know how you have versatility in the squad. It makes it really easy for team building, especially in a league where you get so many injuries because of the high pace and the high intensity of the NWSL.
This road match for Angel City, as they traveled north to the Bay Area, featured a very special player climbing off the bus. Forward Kristen Press for Angel City made the trip with the team. I mean, that smile says it all. She is so excited to be back on the road with this group. The first time that Press has traveled coming back from her ACL injury in over 2 years. As we take a look at the lengthy resume for Kristen Press, Dee, how much of a lift does it give the side for Angel City, even just having Press on this road trip with them?
It's massive. I think her presence and seeing, I mean, look at these career notes. This is insanity. But seeing how influential she is in this league, she brings a standard that I think Angel City's been missing. They have a lot of young players. Yes, they have some veterans, but as decorated as this, and for her to be so hungry to come back from injury and just be enjoying the day-to-day, I think is very infectious for people to watch, to be in her presence. And not only that, the fact that she's coming in and is going to be playing soon, knock on wood, I really hope so, but that brings a lot of competition to this roster. I got to. But it brings a lot of competition. So I think now these players are thinking, I mean, I would be thinking this, I need to step my game up. I need to finish my opportunities. Where can I be better? Where can I be more professional? Ultimately, I think it's going to be great for Angel City, and I'm so happy for her. It's been a long time coming. Even
not a full press is sometimes better than a player that is at full strength. Would you argue that?
We'll see.
Depends on the personnel.
Depends on the personnel, and I think it's going to depend on her confidence when she's back. I know she's a true professional. It's been a long time, but she's a true professional. I think everybody wants to see her on the field, so they're going to take their time integrating her, however that means, whether it's 11s in training before a full 90 before she's able to get into a game. But I think it'll be really, really good to have her back on the pitch.
This was the next step in the progression for Press, to travel, be on a road trip with the team. Houston Dash, they didn't have to travel far. They stayed at home as they welcomed in San Diego Wave to Shell Energy Stadium. Darian, this was a big matchup. And in the 10th minute, Diana Ordonez, a huge opportunity.
Gets this volley off of a deflection. Olivieri delivers this ball in, but Kaylin Sheridan, I mean, such a solid goalkeeper, has to be a bit better, but great save from her. Houston's best chance until about the 89th minute, sadly. 36th minute, Tarciane on the ball in the back, a little bit too casual, a little too obvious. Colaprico steps up, hits it with her left. You're going to need to do more than that to get past Jane Campbell. Calm, cool, and collected. The tides turned a bit. The momentum in the last 15 minutes of the match switched over to Houston. A couple set pieces, couple corners. Ordonez pops up, tries to redirect this on frame, but too high, and the game ends 0-0.
For Houston Dash, this is the first time they've ever had 3 straight clean sheets at home. Incredibly impressive for a Dash side that typically does much better on the road in their last several seasons. Aaron, a lot of the change in Houston has to do with Fran Alonso's defensive structure that he's finally brought in. Paige Nielsen, Natalie Jacobs in that back line, and now the Brazilian international Tarciane. What has impressed you about Tarciane?
You can tell she has the total package. She's still very, very young, but she's incredibly athletic. She's tall. She's strong. She has that little nasty streak. She wants to hurt you sometimes. And in a center back, that is the best possible thing you can say as a compliment. She has that nasty streak, but she reads the game well. She's still a little bit immature. You can see in that giveaway. She still will make some mistakes, but that's what you live with when you have a young center back, because it takes time to grow into the position. But she has all the tools to be world class.
Well, imagine when she has a few more games under her belt and she's adjusted to, I think, the speed of this league and how players can anticipate where passes are going a little bit quicker. I think she's going to be really, really good for this Houston backline. They've needed this.
You can see she's a leader, too. You can see it when she plays with Brazil, the way that she directs the backline. And even as young as she is, she has that confidence in the reading of the game and the confidence in herself to direct.
And to take like a 50-yard shot. She did that in the game. Yes, I love Brazilians in the NWSL.
Having three center backs in three center back positions for Houston gives so much confidence to the other players higher up the field, knowing that they actually have defenders back there. Yeah. And it's no longer center mids playing center back. I mean,
proper defenders.
They trusted the process. They trusted the process with Fran Alonso, and ultimately it paid off. No more accents. No more accents. We'll see what Sandra.
We had one on air.
We'll see if Sandra has any accents for us, because she's coming up next in Attacking Third. We welcome her onto the show. Don't go anywhere. Hey, welcome back to Attacking Third. We are pleased to welcome in our good friend, Sandra Herrera. Sandra, welcome in, and happy birthday!
Hey.
Thanks, y'all. Appreciating it. Feeling good, feeling great. Taking those next steps towards my full-on Senora era. It's going really well for me. No big partying over the weekend. Like, I was like, let's just get like mani-pedi, keep it simple.
I like it. Well, you deserve it all, Sandra. So thanks for joining us. It is a belated birthday, not today, but we haven't talked to you in a while about your power rankings. You put those out for CBSSports.com. Everyone can read those, and you should. But what has changed? Take us through your latest power rankings and let us know the biggest changes in your teams.
We're hitting this stretch of the season, Lisa, where I think we're going to see power rankings in the table be somewhat reflective of each other. I like how narrow things are getting right now for teams that we could consider real contenders. And while maybe the middle of the table and kind of sort of mid-table teams will kind of maybe, kind of jockey for position a little bit as well. So while maybe early on in these power rankings, there were maybe big jumps anywhere from 2 to 3. I think week to week now, moving forward to the final end of the season, we're just going to see these really small, narrow margins. One jumping up 1 or jumping below 1. It was really tough this week for me to kind of balance out Kansas City and Orlando, and I think that's been part of the fun in this season in particular. We have not just one, but really kind of 2, possibly even 3 kind of best teams that we're looking at in terms of a shield race. But I think when it came to putting a number 1 in this week, I had to go with Kansas City, because even though we saw the Pride and the Current put up some lopsided scorelines, I think it's a little bit different to go ahead and put up a lopsided scoreline against another contender and doing that on the road. And that's exactly what Kansas City did against Portland. I mean, they were up by 4 goals really for almost 75 minutes before Sophia Smith had her say. So I had to keep them number 1 this week in the power rankings for sure.
Sandra, I like that. I was going to ask, how did you decide Kansas City above Orlando? Because I kind of feel we are at that point where it's going to be one of those to make it. Obviously, the both teams are going to make it to playoffs, but they're having such a good season. How do you pick who's best? I don't know. But I want to jump over to your team, Chicago. Staying at the same place. How do they move up? What's going on with them? I feel everything's kind of relying through Mal Swanson at the moment.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Shocking. I agree with you 100%. I think at this point, they're not given too much to move up or down in the power rankings. But I think if you look at the regular season table, they're also not doing enough to kind of climb that regular season table either. They're taking a little bit of a dive into this second half of the season, and that's not great for them, because this is where a lot of teams find themselves sort of making that push, right? And for Chicago, they now find themselves on a winless streak that's stretched to 5 games now. And I think it's not unfair to say that Mal Swanson is officially living on an island at this point. It's great to have Alyssa Nair back and see her coming up with some big saves for this team. But outside of those two kind of putting up performances week to week, it's not enough to kind of get them winning results. And that's going to be tough, I think, for them to kind of dig out of this hole a little bit that they've put themselves in to start this second half of the season. I think you're going to start to see teams rising and teams fall a little bit, and I would put Chicago in the category of teams that are falling.
In your power rankings, the middle of the park teams are the ones that really interest me. We just talked about Chicago. They're at 9th in your power rankings, but Racing Louisville, they sit in 7th. They salvaged a point this past weekend against Seattle, but what does Louisville need to do to stay in the top half of the table?
Yeah, they keep fluctuating for my rankings anywhere between like 7 and 9. You know, it's tough. I think they've kind of build this identity for themselves a little bit under first-year head coach Bev Yanez, and they're a scrappy team. They're going to scrape and fight for every point they can get, but at the same time, you want to see them be able to kind of convert wins, to be able to really kind of separate themselves from some of those middle-of-the-table pack type teams. And so I think with this particular result coming off of this kind of come-from-behind draw against Seattle is great, but I think if you're one of those mid-table teams, you want to take a look at the opportunities that are in front of you. And Seattle is a team that has struggled this season. I mean, it's all out there in the open for us to see. So it's great to know that they've got players and they've got a bit of an identity that they've established here. They're a team that can be threatening on a set piece. They're no strangers to that with DeMello. We got to see it with Turner kind of getting that equalizer in this one. So I think they're just maybe a result or two away, win specifically, from maybe finally saying, yes, we are going to maintain this position as a playoff contending team.
Now, Sandra, the other side of that Louisville late rescuing of the goal is the disappointment from Seattle. They are next to the basement in your power rankings. They're next to the basement in the league. I know they've got some good news coming in. Can you talk to me about their performance and then that news that we have for them?
Yeah, it's tough, right? Because I think for me especially, I had Seattle as this team is potentially like running it back to as close as they could have done last season. And I think we are just like acres away from that at this point. I mentioned in my power rankings if a bad season could potentially get worse for Seattle. And I think the answer for now might be maybe ? I mean, it's like really kind of a wait and see approach. I mean, you hate to see, dropping points the way that they did. It didn't just kind of happen in the regular sort of culture of NWSL where it's like everything is chaotic and everything's so competitive and look at the parity. I mean, we're talking about conceding a late stoppage time free kick opportunity. That is not how you want to go out. And then I think if you take a look at maybe some of their missed opportunities along the way, I think that's really tough too. Their only goal coming against the run of play by way of penalty. It's tough for this team. It's tough to watch, and maybe that's why they're looking to maybe try to shake things up a little bit over the weekend. While I was celebrating birthday vibes, I was also, taking a look at maybe breaking some news, and we've got some transfer news that we reported on CBSSports.com. Aurelia Mondesir is going to eventually make her way to NWSL. A transfer has been agreed upon between player and Montpellier, her current side. She is going to depart eventually and join Seattle Reign. Sources have confirmed to CBS Sports that it's going to be for a 3-year +1 deal. This is a very exciting attacker, Haiti's captain. She's one of these players who have really been part of this national team side that has kind of helped raise the profile of Haiti over the last cycle or so. I think they get a lot of fans out of that 2023 World Cup. They were drawn into a little bit of a tough group alongside England and Denmark and China, but they put together some incredible performances. We're talking narrow 1-goal losses, and they really won a lot of hearts over, I think, with their resilient play and all of their efforts. So I think maybe getting a player of this caliber into the mix can help kind of maybe provide a boost for Seattle moving forward in this second half of the season.
Sandra, I sure hope so, because they let that game slip through their fingers. They should have won.
Absolutely.
I want to know, from the bottom half of your list, who do you think is a dark horse that could maybe make a really good playoff run?
Oh my gosh. I think bottom half. So we're going upper half through 8. So that would be 9 through 14. Look, I like what Houston Dash and Bay FC have been putting together. I think there's a lot to be said about Jane Campbell kind of, obviously riding this sort of reigning goalkeeper of the year performance week in and week out. I think we are constantly saying incredible things about Jane Campbell, but at the same time, that's why they're getting results and they're not necessarily getting those wins. So they're scoreless in their last 3 games, I think, is the other side of that coin. While Jane Campbell's putting up these incredible performances, they're not getting the ball at the back of the net. And for Bay FC, I think they've got a lot of attacking talent. I think too much good attacking talent for them to have just kind of put together some of the results that they have so far. So they're getting wins, but it's a little bit in a streaky manner. And if they can get a little bit more consistent, maybe they can, at the very least, play spoiler along the way.
Oh, I like that shout for Bay and for Houston. In your standings, Bay at 11th and Houston in 12th. So they just have to make it to the top 8 in order to get to the postseason. Not too far off.
There's time.
Plenty of time left to come. Sandra, thank you so much for joining us. Always appreciate it.
Thanks, gang. Appreciate it. Thanks for the birthday wishes.
Yeah, happy belated from everyone at Attacking Third. Don't go anywhere. We've got plenty more to come on the show. We'll be right back. Stay with us. A Saturday night to remember for Vermont Green FC and former United States women's national team midfielder manager for this match on the sidelines, Sam Ewis. You can see her there as Vermont Green win their inaugural women's exhibition match 5-4 on penalties over the Quebec side, FC Laval. This match ended 1-1 after regulation. They went into penalties. After 5 pens, the Vermont keeper makes a save, and then defender Rochelle Purcell from Middlebury College converts her penalty for Vermont to get the big dub. Sam Ewis, huge celebrations for her. We talked about her being on the sidelines as a manager for this match. And look at the win with the crowd and the player celebrations. She deserves it.
She does. Sammy Muse is a great person. She deserves all the good things. I'm happy to see her finding a path after playing and just having fun. It just seems like good vibes. Shout out Vermont Green. One of my former coworkers, Pat Inferno, co-founded that club, and just I love the entire energy around the club. So it's been really cool to see everything they're doing.
Yeah, it's good to see Sam staying close to the game. She obviously has a pod she works on. She does a lot of media work, talking about the game, bringing more visibility to it, which is incredible. Yeah. And I've had the honor of playing with her at UCLA and then at the Courage and playing against her so many times, which has sucked. But I love it. She even, quote, said, "I think this is something I've been missing in my life, really caring about this moment and how it would affect the team." Totally. That gave me chills when I read it because retiring, especially the way that she had to retire, was due to injury, her body just telling her she needed to stop. Yeah. Knowing that she can come back and still kind of get that same fullness in your heart, that close to the game, is really, really important.
When you are no longer a player, collegiately, professionally, it doesn't matter. You miss being part of a team, whether it's like the workouts or the camaraderie, the winning, the losing together, just being part of a group and having that. And you could clearly see how much it meant to MUS to get that first inaugural win for Vermont FC. Before we go and end the show, I want to talk about some big wins of the weekend and performances of the weekend. Darian, I'll start with you. What's your performance of the weekend?
I want to give a big old shout out to my girl, Temwa Chawinga. She has been, oh my God, such a force since she joined the league. But I think this week in particular, we're seeing all of the skills that she has come into a game. I mean, we've talked about how fast she is. She is so clean and can dribble so quickly on the ball that she's really unstoppable. I think this is my favorite goal that she's scored because watch how she's able to separate, read where the space is, and then put this on frame. She creates so many chances every game, and she's unstoppable. Her and Banda just kind of flicking defenders off of them is so
She starts with 3 defenders on her, and they just fall around
Everyone
her.
just kind of like takes 3 steps back, somebody falls. She's unstoppable. So I think seeing her, how comfortable and confident she is in this league, and and just seeing her thrive at Kansas City has been really, really fun. So she has been my favorite part
I like
of this
that.
weekend.
Aaron, who's your performance of the weekend?
Mine's kind of a two-parter, but to start, I'm going to take my Homer hat off, and it's going to be Trinity Rodman because she was absolutely fantastic against Gotham. She was kicked up and down the pitch. She attracts so much attention. She's the most well-known quantity on this team, but this strike was absolutely brilliant. She reacted so well to the adversity against her. She probably should have gone out. The way that she got kicked, it looked like she was going to have to come off with an injury, but she fought through it. She was fantastic. She got her goal. She was just good overall and even stronger in the second half. So a wonderful overall performance. And then my second performance of the weekend is my daughter. I don't know if we get it on the screen, but it's on my phone. Yes! This is my daughter's painting. I am my daughter's #1 fan. She said she made this one for Daddy, but she's got a lot of paintings. She made a whole art exhibit on a basketball hoop in our living room. It's a juxtaposition of art and sport. But I'm a massive fan of my daughter's artwork and #1 fan.
This is talent. I mean, how old is she?
She is 3.5.
Talent. That's, I mean, I'm not just saying that. This is impressive. I would hang this up in my house.
I legitimately, I'm going to get it framed so I can put it up.
You should. You should see if she can sign it.
Yeah, have her sign it in the
Give her a Sharpie. See if she can sign it.
She can write her name now, so I just got to get her to write her name, and then we'll frame it.
That's sweet.
A handprint would be pretty cute, too.
That would be cool.
To Daddy.
Or a little footprint.
Oh, that's cute.
All right, you guys are giving me good
okay,
ideas.
so that's a good honorable mention. Dee, any honorable mentions from you?
Yes, I am going to go G from Seattle because although Seattle's been on the struggle bus this season, she's been such a bright spot for me. She's been able to orchestrate play. She stays calm, cool, and collected on the ball. She helps break lines. She creates scoring opportunities and ultimately just looks like the heartbeat of this team when she's on the ball. I think her and Jess Fishlock have kind of held this team together. I know it's been a struggle, but I think once they bring in a couple more assets, they start to get some wins, it's going to be because those two have really, really led this team during this low part of their season.
And the rumors that Sandra was talking about with Mondesir potentially coming to Seattle soon, about to break officially, the play between G and Mondesir could be really fun to watch. And then throw Fishlock into the mix.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that.
I do too.
I like that a lot.
Lisa?
My shout out is to Casey Murphy for this weekend. She has done such a good job with North Carolina Courage and with the Olympics coming up to be the second string, to have a really good performance this weekend for the Courage. Just solidifies herself and gives her that confidence heading into international break before rosters are named and a big summer ahead.
Oh, yeah.
I like
a good
that
shout. I like that.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, that's it for our show today for Attacking Third. Thanks so much for joining us, everyone. On Wednesday, Sandra and I will be live on YouTube, and we'll be back in studio on Thursday. Have a great day.